Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with my final Reading Rush 2019 video, and this is going to be my 2019 wrap up, telling you all of the information just to wrap the great readathon up. It was a week-long readathon. I posted a TBR, I posted a try a chapter tag, I posted days 1, 2, and 3 as a part 1 vlog, and then I posted days 4 through 7 as a part 2 vlog, and then there is this video kind of just wrapping everything up in case you just want to skip all of that other stuff. But I will have all of those videos linked in the description box of this video. I'm going to go ahead and give you my stats up front. I read 7 books, I read 2,443 pages, and I grabbed 16 badges. I'm probably the most proud of that because I had no idea that I would be able to read 7 books in the week. I haven't done that since probably another booktubeathon / reading rush. So the reading rush was really successful, and I just want to say again a thank you to our hosts, Ariel and Raylene. I think they did a great job. I think that I know there was a lot of work behind the scenes, especially with the website and everything like that, but I also want to thank all of the video challenge hosts and all of the Twitter sprint hosts and all of the Instagram challenge hosts, because I know that, you know, they're responsible for picking winners and looking through, you know, hundreds of videos and hundreds of photos, and just like supporting Ariel and Raylene in the process. And I think it's a great event, and I'll continue to participate year after year. It's just so much fun, and it's something I look forward to during the summertime. One thing that I did want to point out is if you go to my Instagram, I have a whole little highlight here for the Reading Rush. So if you click on that, if you go to my profile and click on that, it shows all of my Reading Rush related Instagram like stories or pictures or anything like that. And then one thing that I did that I thought was really cool, and it helped me stay on track, as well as like the website and Goodreads and all of that, and I made this PowerPoint doc. I think I shared this picture, but basically I just did a simple PowerPoint where it listed the challenges and what my original TBR was, and then all of the badges that I collected, all of the badges, and then I also did a day-to-day breakdown of what I actually accomplished every single day. The last thing that I want to show you is I did get the mug and the bookmarks. I ended up using this purple one. As you can see around the edges, it's getting a little soft and stuff like that, but they're very sturdy bookmarks. I didn't use these 2 this year, but maybe next year. But yeah, I used this one, and it was just great to use this, and I drank out of my mug every single day, and I'm so glad that I splurged for the mug, because they're only doing this one, like it's like a one-time thing that they did just for the first one, because I heard it was like really expensive and stuff, but I absolutely love it, and I'm just so happy. So I just threw some extra bookmarks that I have in here and the little piece of paper that they sent. And I'm going to keep this on my bookshelf or like in this bedroom somewhere, just so I can have it, and then depending if they do a mug next year or not, I may like drink out of this one if they don't do a mug, but I hope they do. So the reason why I was so successful, I think, and why I was able to read like 7 books and get all the badges is I did the try a chapter tag. So that accomplished like a few things. Obviously picked a TBR, but what happens is there's a time between picking a TBR and the readathon actually starting where I kind of don't even know like what I want to start with or what I'm the most excited about, and I kind of forget about it a little bit. So then the day of the readathon starts and I'm like, oh crap, what do I start with? Or I'll just go in the order of the challenges, but I have found in years past that's not really probably the best bet. Anyway, so what I did this year is I did the try a chapter tag, and that showed me what I wanted to read first, which was Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It showed me the other books that I was like the most interested in from the first chapter. So I knew like the first 3 books I was going to be reading, which that's pretty good because those checked off a lot of challenges. It showed me which one I was going to struggle with or need to change. So that was kind of always in the back of my mind, like, probably not going to read this one. Maybe I should pick something else. But I knew when I got to that challenge that I was going to have to come to terms with, okay, are you actually going to try it or are you going to switch? Okay. And I ended up switching it, and we will talk about that. But now let's go ahead, now that I have blabbered on long enough, let's go ahead and jump into the books. On the first day, I read Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I read The Complete Cheese Sweet Home Part 4. This is the one that I picked for an author's debut, but I also read this in one spot in my bed, and I really enjoyed it. This tells the story of Elsie and her husband Ben, who only know each other for like 3 months. Okay, so it's like 5 months, but they meet each other on like New Year's, and then in May they're married, they elope, and then 9 days later Ben is hit and killed on impact. And it's super tragic because it starts with this like lovey-dovey, super happy, like they're the cutest couple ever. And then he goes out on an errand on his bike, and Elsie obviously knows something's wrong because it's taken more time than it should. And yeah, it's tragic because you're like, oh my gosh, such a cute relationship. And then you're like, oh. So it really deals with like grief and loss, but also like friendship and like moving on past something like that. And the only criticism that I had is because it was kind of told in 2 parts. It's told from like the past 6 months and then 6 months from the incident. So the before, 6 months before, and 6 months after the accident. You get to see their relationship, and it's so tragic because you know the outcome of their relationship. I don't think that there was like a huge like getting to know characters. I didn't feel them as much as I have felt Taylor Jenkins Reid other characters and all of her other stories, just because I think it was split, but it was still a solid debut. I gave it 4 stars. If I would have read this like when it was published and it was the first Taylor Jenkins Reid book that I ever read, I probably would have given it a 5 stars. But knowing that I've read like every other book by her and like then reading this, I'm like, it's a 4. So anyway, I highly recommend this book if you are a fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid. Part 4 of my favorite manga, the only manga I've ever read. I have tried several times to read manga. I just can't do it. I've tried at least like in depth 3 or 4 times, and I keep saying like, oh, maybe I'll do it again. But like, honestly, like I work so hard and I don't have time to like force myself to do something that I don't want to. So when I found that this was a like English formatted manga and it was about this adorable little cat named Chi, I just wanted to read it, and I'm so sad it's over. I have parts 1, 2, and 3, and then this is parts 4. So this is the end of Chi's journey. And I would have totally followed Chi onto the next journey. The only criticism I have for this part, even though it's like long, it's 455 pages, I think that, oh, and I read this for a non-human main character. And I did the 5-word title for this one as well, even though that could be for another book. Anyway, I think that my only criticism is because it was the final part, there was a lot of things to wrap up, and you never got to like just settle into the story and like, oh, that's so cute. And that's what I loved about part 1 so much, is it was really about one thing, and I just loved it. The first part was basically about Chi being taken in by this family and her getting adjusted to life at this house and the rules and just falling in love with her family, her new family. And in this one, it had to wrap up so many like loose ends that I just think that it was like I don't know. It was just too much. I didn't get to just like enjoy myself because I always was like, oh, and that, and that, and that. So 4 stars, but that's still like a great, I highly recommend this manga series if you like cats because it is so cute. Then I picked up Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This one I did think was pretty steamy. Some people said it was cringy, and it was a little bit just because Travis, the main character, the things that he would say and how like sure of himself that he was, it was almost a little cringy, but at the same time like that really turned Georgie on, and I think that it worked for them. And I think that's what people sometimes forget about like sex in general, and what turns other people on in general is what works for you is not going to work for somebody else, and what they did worked for them, and seeing how it made them feel was what the story was really all about. But I also think that there was a backstory and there was like family bits and stuff like that. I rated this one 4 stars as well. It was probably more of a 3 stars, but I gave it 4 stars because it was like so steamy and it really went there. I wanted to read Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen for the book to movie adaptation, and when I did that try chapter tag, I knew right away, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. And I thought I could force myself through it like with the audiobook, but I didn't really feel like I would be present for that, and I just decided against it. So then it was like, okay, what do I have on my shelves, because I didn't want to have to go to the bookstore. I was like, what do I have on my shelves that I could use? And you saw that reflected in the vlog. I had a couple of options there. I decided to go with The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, and I am so glad I did. This was my 5-star book and my only 5-star book of the entire readathon. I highly recommend it if you just like, every time I read a memoir, and the reason why I don't pick up more of them is I'm always scared that they're going to be boring. It's going to be about someone's life that I really don't care about, and it's going to be written in like an informational way, and it's going to feel very nonfiction. However, even though this is her memoir, I feel like it was so interesting, and it was more of like a fiction. You could almost picture it as like a fictionalized story. However, it's not. It's based on her life, and she did have a very tragic life and a hard life growing up. Her parents moved around a lot. They didn't always have money. Her dad was an alcoholic. And it's just about her and her siblings, and, you know, the things and the lengths that they went to kind of like take care of themselves, but also like her relationship with her dad is what stuck out with me the most. And I have a really great relationship with my dad, and I don't know, I loved it for that reason especially. Oh yeah, it read very quickly as well, so I really enjoyed the book. Then I watched the movie adaptation of this, and I think they chose some great actors. I really liked the kid actors that they chose, and they had to choose them from like a couple different ages. And I also loved that Woody Harrelson was the dad of this story. I just thought he did a really good job of that. The only thing I'll say, and I talked about it in that vlog where I actually watched it, was that they kept the essence of the story, but they put a lot of like main events, I'll say, out of order, or one main event from like the beginning with a main event of the end, or they would talk about something that meant one thing and they would mention it somewhere else where it didn't really fit with like the timeline of the story. So, and then also it starts with a woman on the street, which is basically where Jeanette Walls is going out and she sees her mom like going through garbage, and then she goes back to her apartment, and then she basically starts from her childhood. Whereas in the book, it kept flipping back and forth between like her adulthood and her childhood, and it doesn't do that in the book, so that really bothered me as well. But the essence of the movie, or the essence of the book, is still there. And then also what I loved, like I feel like if you were a fan of this book and you want more, to watch the movie, and then at the end, like during the end credits, there's like more photos and there's like actual video of her parents and stuff like that, and It wrecked me. I loved it so much because the only real picture that I have in my copy is this picture right here of her parents when they were married in 1956. The next story that I read is Save the Date by Morgan Matson, and I rated this one 3 stars. And I think this would be a really good story for high school seniors on spring break looking for something to read, high school seniors that just graduated high school and they're on summer vacation before heading off to college. It does center around Charlie's sister Lenny's wedding and everything that goes wrong, but it's also about Charlie dealing with an end of an era coming in her life. She's graduating high school. Her family's all like moving all over the place and they're coming together this one last time. And they're also selling their house. Their mother's comic strip is ending. So a lot of lasts, you know what I'm saying? So it deals with that, and I think it does it in a fun way. But I only rated it 3 stars because, again, like so much was going on and it was just okay. Next story that I read is The Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. I always have to look down to that title and that author because I always want to say the girl and I always like mess up the name. So anyway, I rated this story 3 stars. It reminded me a lot of The Female of the Species. However, in this one, it goes a little bit more into depth on like what you should do or what you can do if you're raped. And also, I think that it's kind of different because you're dealing with multiple rapes and you're dealing with someone that you know raping another person that you know. So it's pretty tragic in that way, but I think it handles it in a very like palatable way. And what I liked about it is I did like that it kind of connected everything back to like the friendship and the family. I just felt a little lost. I felt like I didn't get what I really needed from it or what I think that teenage readers would need from something like this story. And for that reason, that's why I gave it 3 stars. But if you're looking for another book like The Female of the Species, I definitely think you should read this one. And if you liked this one and you're looking for another book, check out The Female of the Species. And the last book that I finished this yesterday and I read the last 100 pages and I was just so happy. So this is the book that I originally chose for a book with 5 words on the title. It is The Names They Gave Us by Emery Lord. I rated this one 4 out of 5 stars. This is about our main character, Lucy, whose mom was diagnosed with cancer. She kind of beat it and she was in remission. Then Lucy finds out that the cancer is back and it's summer vacation now, and her parents own this like church camp because they're very religious. Her dad's a pastor and they go to church all the time. That's like a big part of her identity is being Christian. And so I liked that it dealt with like religion in the story in like an open and an honest way and like an unflinching like raw way. But instead her mom doesn't want her to go to the camp, like their church camp. She wants her to go to this camp across the lake because while her mom is going through treatments and stuff like that, she wants Charlie to like go meet friends and kind of not be around to see her mother's decline, but also like just to make friends and like live her life and know that she's going to be okay. So Lucy reluctantly agrees to go to this camp, and she goes there as a camp counselor and she kind of meets friends, and it's the first time that she's really feeling connected with like a group of people because she doesn't have a lot of friends back home other than like her swim team and stuff like that. So I kind of did relate to Lucy in that way, but I also like that you get to know like multiple characters within the friend group. It's like all of the camp counselors you get to know, but also you get to know some of the campers and everybody. It doesn't feel like she was just saying like, these are the camp counselors and they, you know, we're all like grouped together. They all each individually had like their own story and their own personalities, which I really liked because it felt like a full cast of actual characters. I liked that it dealt with like the religion, and I love books about like summer camps and stuff like that. But I just wish the ending, like, even though I know how it probably ended, I still wanted more. I really think that this book would have benefited from an epilogue to let us know, like, what happened next. But yeah, it was really sad because her mom's dealing with cancer and it gets crazy. And the biggest thing that bothered me is that one of the things that was like a theme throughout this book was like, just be honest with me, just tell me everything and stuff like that. But then like there were still secrets, and then as they revealed, you were just like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. But then she never had time to like fully discuss them, or you know, they never went into detail more. Like, you're like, okay, you just found out this like huge bombshell. Like, can we talk about that for a minute? Those are the 7 books that I read. Like I said, that completed all of the original challenges, but I also got things like doing the YouTube video, the Instagram challenge. I also read over 1,000 pages, obviously. I read a 5-star book. I also did the virtual read-in, which was super fun, and I hope that they do that again in the future. Even if it's not like a challenge or like a badge, I still think having them on Instagram Live and just being able to like sit around and watch them and read books. I know it sounds weird, but it was so much fun. But that's it for today's video. If you have any questions, definitely check the description box. It will have links to the other videos. And as I'm reading the books in my vlogs and stuff like that, I'm obviously discussing more things. So yeah, check those out. And then if you still have questions, let me know in the comment section down below. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!